All right, well, welcome back for some more Wonder. Figured I'd just be on screen today for some reason. Felt like that was okay. This reading is about Miranda. Okay, so this is entitled Miranda, so that means this is going to be from Miranda's point of view. And Miranda is actually like a family friend, but Via's real good friend. Used to be real good friends. And this whole section is basically going to be about the friendship between Via and Miranda and figuring out why they used to be friends, what caused kind of this like breakup of their friendship, and then seeing what happens at the end of the chapter, which is kind of cool on Miranda's part. But don't forget, this is from Miranda's point of view. You also learn too, probably in this section, that Miranda really does really likes August. Okay, like as a friend, obviously, but so Via and Miranda used to be really good friends. So then, of course, Miranda got close to August, and then for some reason, something happens between Miranda and Via, and they, for some reason, they're not friends like they used to be. Okay, so but this is from Miranda's point of view. Okay, so anywhere you get like the I, the first person kind of thing, it means it's from Miranda. So let's go ahead and let's see what kind of take we get from Via's friend, whose name is Miranda. So here we go. We're on page 236. The first section is called Camp Lies. I think it's only about 13 pages. Okay, so you have questions inside of your Wonder Packet talking about how did their relationship stop? What did Via had these like assumptions, like beliefs that she had about why Miranda and her weren't friends anymore, and then it also talks about what happens at the play, like why did Miranda not go into the play. All right, here we go. So Camp Lies, page 236. My parents got divorced the summer before ninth grade. My father was, so that just happened not that long ago. They got divorced right before ninth grade. Don't forget they're in ninth grade. So something did happen between, when parents get divorced, it's not easy on kids. All right. My father was with someone else right away. In fact, though my mother never said so, I think it was the reason why they got divorced. After the divorce, I hardly ever saw my father, and my mother acted stranger than ever. It's not that she was unstable or anything, just distant, remote. My mother is the kind of person who has a happy face for the rest of the world, not a lot left over for me. Her life. Wait, she never talked too much to me, not about her feelings, her life. I didn't know much about her when she was my age. Don't know much about the things she liked, didn't like. The few times she mentioned her own parents, who I never met, it was mostly about how she wanted to get as far away as she could once she would grow up. She never told me why. I asked her a few times, but she would pretend that she hadn't heard me. I didn't want to go to camp that summer. I wanted to stay with her to help her through the divorce, but she insisted I go away. I figured she wanted the alone time, so I gave in to her. Okay, so Miranda's going off to camp over the summertime, right before school. Camp was awful. I hated it. I thought that it would never be better to be a junior counselor, but it wasn't. No one I knew from the previous year had come back, so I didn't know anyone, not a single person. I'm not even sure why, but I started playing this little make-believe game with the girls in camp. They'd ask me stuff about myself, and I'd make things up. My parents are in Europe, I told them. I live in a huge townhouse in the nicest street in North River Heights, and I have a dog named Daisy. She's pretending to be somebody else. Then one day I blurted out that I had a little brother who was deformed. I have absolutely no idea why I said this. It just seemed like an interesting thing to say. And of course, the reaction I got from the little girls in the bungalow was dramatic. Really? So sorry, that must be tough, etc., etc. I regretted saying that the moment it escaped my lips, of course. I felt like such a fake. If Via ever found out, I thought she would think that I was such a weirdo, and I felt like a weirdo. But I have to admit there was a part of me that felt a little entitled to this lie. I've known Augie since I was about 6 years old. I've watched him grow up, I've played with him, I've watched all 6 episodes of Star Wars for his sake, so I could talk to him about the aliens and the bounty hunters and all that. I'm the one that gave him the astronaut helmet he wouldn't take off for 2 years. I mean, I've kind of earned the right to think of him as my brother. And the strangest thing in all these lies I told, these fictions, it did wonders for my popularity. The other junior counselors heard it from the campers, and they were all over it. Never in my life had I been considered one of the popular girls in anything, but that summer in camp, for whatever reason, I was the girl everybody wanted to hang out with. Even the girls in Bungalow 32 were totally into me. These were the girls at the top of the food chain. Like super popular. They said they all liked my hair, though it changed. They said that they liked the way I did my makeup, though that changed too. They showed me how to turn my t-shirts into halter tops. We smoked, we snuck out late at night, we took path through the woods to the boys' camp, we hung out with boys. When I got home from camp, I called Ella right away to make plans with her. I don't know why I didn't call Via. I guess I just didn't feel like talking to her about all this stuff with her. She would have asked me about my parents, about camp. Ella never really asked me these things. She was an easier friend to have that way. She wasn't serious like Via. She was fun. She thought it'd be cool when I dyed my hair pink. She wanted to hear all those trips through the woods late at night. Okay, so she didn't want to call her because she felt maybe Via would be a little judgmental about all the changes in the lives. School, page 239. I hardly saw Via at school this year, and when I did, it felt awkward. It felt like she was judging me. I knew she didn't like my new look. I knew she didn't like my group of friends. I didn't like hers. She never actually argued. We never actually argued. We just drifted away. Ella and I badmouthed her to others. She was a prude. She was so this. She was so that. We knew we knew we were being mean, but it was easier to ice her out if we pretended that she had done something to us. The truth is, she hadn't changed at all. We had. We'd become these other people, and she still is the same person she always been. That annoyed me so much that I didn't know why. Once in a while, I'd look to see where she was sitting in the lunchroom to check elective list to see what she had signed up for, but except for a few nods in the hallway and occasional hello, we never really spoke to each other. I noticed Justin about halfway through the school year. I hadn't noticed him at all before then. Other than that, he was a skinny, cutish dude with thick glasses and longish hair who carried a violin everywhere. Then one day I saw him in front of the school with his arm around Via. So Via has a boyfriend, I said to Ella, kind of mocking. I didn't know why it surprised me that she'd have a boyfriend. Out of the three of us, she was the total prettiest. Blue eyes, and very long, wavy hair. But she never acted like she was all interested in boys. She acted like she was too smart for all that kind of stuff. I had a boyfriend too, a guy named Zach. When I told him I was choosing the theater elective, he shook his head and said, "Careful you don't turn into a drama geek." Not the most sympathetic dude in the world, but very cute, very high up on the totem pole, a varsity jock, which means popular. I wasn't planning on taking theater at first. Then I saw Via's name up on the sign-up sheet, and she wrote my name, and I just wrote my name down on the list. I don't even know why. We managed to avoid one another throughout most of the semester, like we didn't even know each other. Then one day I got to theater class a little early, and Davenport asked me to run additional copies of the play he was planning on having us do for the spring production, The Elephant Man. I heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was about, so I started skimming through the pages while I was waiting for the Xerox machine. It was about a man who lived more than 100 years ago named John Merrick, who was terribly deformed. "We can't do this play, Mr. D," I told him when I got back to class, and I told him why. My little brother had a birth defect, and he had a deformed face, and the play would hit too close to home. He seemed annoyed and a little unsympathetic, but I kind of said that my parents would have had a real issue with the school doing this play, so anyway, we ended up doing Our Town. Oh, so now you know why the play got changed. I think I went for the role of Emily Gibbs because I knew Via was going for it too. It never occurred to me that I'd actually beat her for the role. 241. What I miss most. One of the things I miss most about Via's friendship is her family. I loved her mom and dad. They were always so welcoming and nice to me. I knew they'd love their kids more than anything. I always felt safe around them, safer than anywhere else in the world. How pathetic that I felt safer in someone else's house than my own, right? And of course, I loved Augie. I never was afraid of him, even when I was little. I had friends that couldn't believe I'd ever go over to Via's house. "His face creeps me out." They'd say, "You're stupid," I'd tell them. Augie's face isn't so bad once you get used to it. I called Via's house once to say hello to Augie. Maybe part of me was hoping that Via would answer. I don't know. "Hey, Major Tom," I said. It was my nickname for him. "Miranda!" He sounded so happy to hear my voice, actually took me kind of surprised. "I'm going to a regular school now," he told me excitedly. "Really? Wow," I said, totally shocked. I guess I never thought that he'd go to regular school. His parents have always been so protective of him. I guess I thought that he'd always be that little kid in the astronaut helmet I gave him. Talking to him, I could tell that he had no idea that V and I weren't close anymore. "It's different in high school," I explained to him. "You end up hanging out with loads of different people." I have some in my new school, he told me. A kid named Jack and a girl named Summer. That's awesome, Augie, I said. Well, I was just calling to tell you that I miss you and I hope that you're having a good year. Feel free to call me whenever you want, okay, Augie? You know I always love you. I love you too, Miranda. Say hi to Via for me. Tell her I miss her. I will. Bye. Bye. It's 2:43. Extraordinary, but no one there to see. Neither my mother nor my father could come see me in the play on the opening night. My mother, because she had this work thing at work, and my dad, because of his new wife, they're going to have a new baby any second now, and he had to be on call. Zach couldn't come to opening night either. He had a volleyball game against a collegiate, so he couldn't miss. In fact, he had wanted me to miss opening night so that I could cheer on him. My friends all went to the game, of course, because all their boyfriends were playing. Even Ella didn't come. Given a choice, she chose the crowd, which means she went with the popular group. So, on opening night, no one that I was remotely close to me was even there. And the thing is, I realized in my third or fourth rehearsal that I was good at this acting thing. I felt the part. I understood the words I spoke. I could read the lines as if they were coming from my brain and my heart. And the opening night, I honestly say, I knew I was going to be more than good. I was going to be great. I was going to be extraordinary. But there would be no one there to come see. We were all backstage, nervously running through the lines in our head. I peeked through the curtain at the people taking their seats in the auditorium. Then I saw Augie walking down the aisle with Isabel and Nate. They took 3 seats in the 5th row near the middle. Augie was wearing a bow tie, looking around excitedly. He had grown up a bit since I'd last seen him almost a year ago. His hair was shorter, and he was wearing some kind of hearing aid now. His face hadn't changed a bit. Davenport was running through some last-minute changes, the set director. I just saw Justin pacing off stage left, mumbling his lines nervously. Mr. Davenport, I said, surprising myself as I spoke. I'm sorry. I cannot go on tonight. Davenport turned around slowly. What? He said. I'm sorry. Are you kidding? I muttered, looking down. I don't feel well. I'm sorry. I feel like throwing up. That was a lie. It's just last-minute jitters. No, I can't do it. I'm telling you. Davenport looked furious. Miranda, this is outrageous. I'm sorry. Davenport took a deep breath like he was trying to restrain himself. To be truthful, I thought that he looked like he was going to explode. His forehead turned bright pink. Miranda, this is absolutely unacceptable. Now go take a few breaths and I'm not going on, I said loudly, and then a tear came to my eyes fairly easily. Fine, he screamed, not looking at me. Then he turned around to a kid named David, who was the set director. Go find Olivia in the lighting booth. Tell her she's filling in for Miranda tonight. What? Said David, who wasn't too swift. Go, shouted Davenport in his face. Now. The other kids had caught on to what was happening and gathered around. What's going on? Said Justin. Last minute changed plans, said Davenport. Miranda doesn't feel well. I feel sick, I said, trying to sound sick. So why are you still here? Davenport said to me angrily. Stop talking, take off your costume and give it to Olivia, okay? Come on, everybody, let's go. Go, go, go. Oof. So she's faking being sick. It should kind of give you an idea because, remember, she didn't see any of her family there, and now she's seen a bunch of Olivia's family, okay? So maybe she's thinking inside of her head, who is this more important for? I ran backstage to the dressing room as quickly as I could, and I started peeling off my costume. 2 seconds later, there was a knock, and Via half opened the door. What's going on? She said. Hurry up, put it on, I answered, handing her the dress. You're sick? Yeah, hurry up. Via looked stunned, took off her t-shirt, jeans, and pulled a long dress over her head and pulled it down for her, and then I zipped up the back. Luckily, Emily Webb didn't go on until 10 minutes into the play, so the girl handling the hair and the makeup had time to put Via's hair up in a twist and do a quick makeup job. I'd never seen Via with a lot of makeup on. She looked like a model. I'm not even sure I remember my lines, Via said, looking at herself in the mirror. Your lines? You'll do great, I said. She looked at me in the mirror. Why are you doing this, Miranda? Olivia. It was Davenport, hush shouting over the door. You're on in 2 minutes. It's now or never. Via followed him out the door, so I never got the chance to answer the question. I don't know what I would have said. Anyway, I wasn't really sure what the answer was. 2:46, the performance. I watched the rest of the play from the wings off stage next to Davenport. Justin was amazing and Vi. And the heartbreaking last scene was awesome. There was well nine she flubbed a bit, but Justin covered for her, and no one in the audience ever even noticed. I heard Davenport muttering under his breath, "Good, good, good." And he was more nervous than all the students put together. The actors, the set decorators, the lighting team, and the guy handling the curtains. Davenport was a wreck, frankly. The only time I felt regret, if I could call it that, was at the end of the play when everyone went for their curtain calls. Via and Justin were the last actors walking out on stage, and the audience rose to their feet and they took their bows. That, I have to admit, was a little bittersweet for me. But just a few moments later, I saw Nate and Isabel and Augie make their ways backstage, and they all seemed happy. Everyone was congratulating the actors, patting them on the back. It was that crazy backstage theater mayhem when sweaty actors in euphoria, while people come worship them for a few seconds. In that crush of people, I noticed Augie looking kind of lost. I cut through the crowd as fast as I could and came up behind him. "Hey," I said, "Major Tom. Remember in the Augie part where he was at the play and then he went backstage and tried to find his family, got lost, and then Miranda came up behind him? See, connecting the dots." 2:47 after the show. I can't say that I was happy to see August again after so long. I can't say why I was so happy to see August after so long, or how felt it good when he hugged me. "I can't believe how big you've gotten," I said to him. "I thought you were going to be in the play," he said. "I wasn't up to it," I said. "But Vio is great, don't you think?" He nodded. 2 seconds later, Isabella found us. "Miranda," she said happily, giving me a kiss on the cheek, and then to August, Don't you ever disappear like that again." "You're the one who disappeared," Augie answered back. "How are you feeling?" Isabel said to me. "Via told us you got sick." Oh, yeah, much better," I answered. "Is your mom here?" said Isabel. "No, she had work stuff, so she's actually not a big deal, which is not a big deal for me," I said truthfully. "We have 2 more shows anyway, though I don't know I'll be as good of an Emily as Vi was tonight." Nate came over and we basically had the exact same conversation. Then Isabel said, "Look, we're going to have a late night dinner to celebrate the show. Are you feeling up to joining us? We'd love to have you." Oh no, I started to say. "Please," said Augie. "I should go home," I said. "We insist," said Nate. By now, Via and Justin had come over to Justin's mom, and Via put an arm around me. "You're definitely coming," she said, smiling her old smile at me. They started leading me out of the crowd, and I have to admit, for the first time in a very, very long time, I felt absolutely happy. Okay, so now you have the section of Miranda in your homework to fill out. So just think about the friendship that happened, why they started separating, and then what brought them back together maybe. And then also you can discuss why do you think Miranda did not do her part and faked being sick. Think about what she thought maybe about her friend Via, and maybe how she thought maybe she could make up to some of the lost times by letting her get in the spotlight for once. Okay, so there you go. That was Miranda, and I will come back to you with reading a little bit more August, probably on Friday. All right, hope you enjoyed the reading. Now you can work on your packet and get your stuff done. All right, see you.